We've got class utility changes. We've also got a major design milestone that raises a pretty big question.
Yeah, there was a lot of doom posting over this.
Is there?
There was, yeah. A hell of a lot of it. A hell of a lot of it.
Okay, well, I've just been made aware of the doom. Okay, well, let's go in and see what's happening then. Right, so we've got party and raid utility changes. So this one I was looking at, right. Basically, many class abilities that only affected players in your party will now affect you and your 4 closest allies. So I think the thought is that perhaps that will mean it's less of a headache to organize your raid group, but it does mean that if you want some of those things to happen specifically, then you'll need to organize yourself spatially. Because of the rules. Also, in a, as TJ's put it, another blow to paladins, Blessing of Spell Warding will now once again only be available to prot, which does bring up a funny little thing, a problem with paladins in vanilla, which was, if a paladin could be prot or holy, why would you bring it in ret?
Yeah, that's a
fair enough question. Something paladins have been thinking about. It's that thing paladins, like, they are in a way like uber strong with the crazy bullshit they pull, but they don't have that kind of like real, I don't know, killer single bit of utility.
Yeah, this is the... there's so many design things you talk about here, but like... Paladins are very good when shit's going wrong.
Yeah.
That's a lot of their toolkit is, oh, things have not gone very well. Like, oh, you're trapped and about to hit freedom. Oh, you know, you need to survive a little bit, bubble. You're going to die, bubble. Obviously, you know, the problem there is a lot of other classes have a bubble equivalent. Especially because Divine Shield is like, okay, you can Divine Shield and do all your damage during it. But that doesn't matter whenever damage events are like, and now it's over. Because then you have mages who can just ice block, cancel ice block, and work away. They've got all the value out of immediately, so it's not much better than, or it's not much worse than Divine Shield. And then you've got all the other classes that are very good at doing things like, oh, this is useful in the best case. This is useful for optimization. Like Stampeding Roar, right? You Stampeding Roar and everyone gets to where they need to be faster. No problems occur. Sorted. That's best case utility. Same with like Strong Mitigation. Plus, like, unless you start to have something like a raid-wide sack or a way to like spread lay on hands healing or something, it's still going to be your good for the worst case, which is where Spell Warding was very different. Spell Warding is, oh, you want to just negate a mechanic? Obviously, Blizzard can decide which mechanics are negatable or not. Yeah. But playing Prot and Legion, I had so much fun with Spell Warding. The amount of times I could be super, super credit to team just by going, I'll just Spell Warding that, or that, or that, or that. And that was really, really good. That's why I was super happy to see Holy and Ret get it. But now it's back to Prot, you're like, yeah, that would have been really good. Mm. But now they're a little bit selfish plus healing, plus freedom, plus aura. But then, again, none of that's unique to Ret. So it's like, why do you bring Ret?
Yeah.
Whereas you've got like boomkins of like Stampeding Roar and stuff like that. You're like, well, why bring Red over a boomkin? Obviously melee versus range stuff, but that's a fundamental thing of, oh, they've got a battle res, which is better than nothing, but it's still not going to be consistently useful in the best case, which I think is just a weird bit of, you know, would a Ret be valued a little bit more now in like a pug where things go wrong all the time? Probably. But people will still like meta comp around having like shamans for Windrush or druids for Stampeding Roar and stuff like that, I think. Especially now druids have Mark of the Wild, which is 3% versatility. I preferred it when it was speed, and but I think it was less versatility than speed, but now it's 3% verse. Like that's basic. Hang on, yeah, verse is why can't I remember? Verse is the percentage is damage done then half is damage taken, or is it half damage done as taken? So 3% versatility then should mean 3% damage. 3% less damage taken and 1.5% more damage done. If I remember correctly, Devotion Aura is 3% less damage taken. Oh, hey, Mark of the Wild's better than Devotion Aura. I'm very happy I'll be playing Druid, not Paladin.
Oh dear. Yeah, so there is, I suppose, a little bit of drama then on the utility.
Yep.
Which, you know, whether that will be addressed or not is a little bit in question. Now, there is the whole Druid rework stuff, which I think we should talk about a little bit, especially because, hey, it's probably going to be your main. But the thing that Blizzard have announced then is that they're transitioning away from design iteration. And it is what it is. I think we all would have liked more of this, but I think there is a bit of silver lining here, which is at least nice to say. They basically said that with the next build, they're transitioning away from spending most of their time on design iteration of new shit. So basically, new talents, major changes to talents, design refinement, that kind of thing. And instead, they've got to fix bugs and they've got to tune the game because it's coming out in 6 weeks. And that is absolutely the case. And I think, a sort of situation where they say, hey, we want to delay by 2 months. Why? Because we want to, redesign 2 specs? Bean counters are probably going to say no. And it also then could be the thing where, well, okay, that's good for those 2 specs, but it could be seen to let down everyone else who plays the game, where they're not going to be screwed over. But there is a silver lining here, and this is really nice to see. It is our expectation that we will be making adjustments based on your feedback throughout the expansion's lifetime. And this ideally prevents something that happened in Shadowlands, where there's a Shadowlands ship, and that was that.
Also BFA.
Yeah.
Hello, Shaman.
Here's the funny thing. I mean, man, I remember whenever the Bounce Druid changes came into Shadowlands Alpha. I remember running around Bastion, working out how the new Eclipse system worked. And the main problem one of the main problems of Eclipse that they decided to fix in Dragonflight is our Alpha Shadowlands feedback.
Took a while.
So it took a while. And that is because clearly within Shadowlands, they just did not have the scope to get to all that stuff, to maybe give classes, I think, what you could say they deserved. Right? There was often times where you had outstanding balance issues. I think the Warlocks were a good example in Season 3, where there was just some shit that was OP, and they did not tune it down quick enough. When they did announce they were going to tune it, it was at the end of Season 3 when some CE guilds were just sitting there trying to progress Saval, and they're like, oh no, our Warlocks got nerfed. Of course, Blizzard backed away from that plan to implement those things in Season 4. Point anyway is the door is not closed to spec refreshes, so maybe patch 10.1 or 10.2 could have a rework of a spec, or have a new talent, or have some change.
Yeah, this
That's
is
good.
Yeah, this is a thing I talked about when it was job balance over in FF. It's because I'm assuming the logic that Yoshi had of we designed the encounters around job balance, so we don't mess with job balance, because then we mess with every encounter at once. Would rather tune an encounter down and make it better for everyone. Well, the Warcraft's very different, because there's not here's a handful of encounters. They're infinite encounters because of M+. So you kind of have to have that thing of, you have to make sure this is balanced for raid and M+, and everything kind of has to go against each other. So you do need a baseline to bring every spec up to, and that's the problem. They need to kind of basically make sure that everyone's damage is close to roughly equilibrium, roughly balanced on the average, given the amount of different encounters and stuff like that, which is it's kind of hard to do, but they just need to be, I think they need to be reactive and have a goal for classes and make sure they actually meet that. At least be transparent about why. So if there's suddenly a class that's really underperforming, they need to say, hey, this is underperforming. Here's why. And sometimes that why could be because we see that it's really, really strong here. So we're we'll hold that niche, but you're going to suffer in single target as a result for that. And then everyone gets to go, well, fuck you, but we now have a reason. It's not going to make it better, but at least kind of people understand, as opposed to just silence for patches at a time. So ideally they do have an idea of, hey, we'll make sure to, with a faster, quicker patch cycle, we'll be able to make more aggressive actual balance changes for job output. But I know this is genuinely a problem. The talent tree is going to make that very difficult. Because you've just massively increased the amount of builds possible in the game. So there's a lot more complexity, and that's going to take, I hope they have the staff to actually manage this now, because it is going to be kind of crazy. I can foresee some really busted stuff showing up in the first couple weeks, especially with tier. Or I can see tier sets completely destroying, how talents actually have choice in them. Because that's always the case, right? It's always the case of, hey, here's a great talent build. Sorry, it's incompatible with tier. You picked this one for this tier. I'm that's cute, but it destroys the point of talents. So I'm certainly worried about that balance aspect, I think, because it's going to be hard for them. But at the same time, just fucking tweak numbers like crazy and hope for the best.
Yeah,
I trust them a little bit more, yeah.
Like, if they can keep things some way reasonable, then, you know, that's probably good enough. I think we probably would want better than Shadowlands. But hey, I mean, even you look at FF14 and, like, that's a game with 0 job customization, and they have balanced drama right now.
Yeah.
Which does show that this stuff is, generally speaking, pretty tricky to do.
Yeah, they have one job that's underperforming in general. As opposed to, sorry, half your game's fucking broken. But yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. So, to take a look at some community thoughts then.